have a joke with my friend Michael Knowles. I'm sure a lot of you guys listen to his podcast too over at the Daily Wire. And Knowles is a Catholic and I'm not, but we agree about a lot of stuff nevertheless. And we always joke about based John Locke and based Rousseau, because the idea is that people think of these philosophers as sort of the creators of our present discontents, because they argued against religion and God and the state. And I think there's a lot to that. You can start to see, and I'm going to continue arguing how this stuff starts to go awry as it becomes more and more detached from its religious roots. And yet you can see that somebody like Rousseau is an honest and thorough enough thinker that he does recognize the necessity of a religious root to justify and underpin these notions, right, of the law, right, that we are bound to one another, and that it's right for us to be bound to one another when we consent to be, and that the sovereign therefore has a right to rule, right, and he says, therefore, like, you can't allow atheism in your state, right? The sovereign has a business in taking cognizance of such of the opinions as refer to the state. And this is a purely civil profession of faith, which the sovereign should fix the articles of, not exactly as religious dogmas, but as social sentiments, without which a man cannot be a good citizen or a faithful subject. While it can compel no one to believe them, it can banish from the state whoever does not believe them. It can banish him not for impiety, but as an antisocial being, incapable of truly loving the laws and justice, and of sacrificing at need his life to his duty. If anyone, after publicly recognizing these dogmas, behaves as if he does not believe them, let him be punished by death. He has committed the worst of all crimes, that of lying before the law. He's saying, you can, in your heart of hearts, you can think there's no God. In your heart of hearts, you can believe and even say all sorts of things about angels and demons and whatever, but you cannot say or act as if there is no God. Why? Because rights are sacred, right? So you still see that there is in Rousseau an acknowledgement of the religious history here. Not so as things progress. And you can see why, because again, the roots are becoming more distant in vision. They're not becoming less important. And that's another mistake. We think something's not right in front of us, therefore it's not important. It's way back in the past, right? But they are becoming more distant. And people are starting to think, well, with science, we can do so many things without any reference to God. And in fact, also, religion has been a cause of all this war, right? The 30 Years' War and Protestantism and versus Catholicism has lost all these lives and destroyed the political stability of Europe. And now we're going to say there is no sovereign authority, human authority over divine truth. We're going to exclude those questions insofar as possible from the conversations we have in order to live well together. And the sovereign is only interested in the kind of religion that's going to keep the peace. And so whatever Rousseau's personal convictions were, right, he nevertheless thought that the state had an interest, right, in maintaining that one truth, that theism, right, the belief in a divine order and a divine law, because distantly, that's where you get to this whole idea of rights to begin with.